All right, everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of Entertainment Evolved. This is going to be an Evolved review, and as you can see here, I am joined by none other than this is his first time recording on video in the studio. Welcome back, superhero homie Q, or as you might know him, the ace of professional wrestling, depending on where you know him from. He's from the Superhero Homies podcast. Welcome back, man.
Thank you for having me, and it's been it's long overdue, that you've had me on video, that is.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, we had the Hot Ones challenge.
We did have the Hot Ones challenge.
But that was technically at like Superhero Homie Ground Zero.
Yeah, that was at the Homie Hangout hangar.
Which is it now? Is it the Homie Hangout, the Homie Hangar, or is it the Homie Hangout hangar?
Yeah, that.
Okay, it's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all of it.
And okay. So then if you upgrade it, it'll be like the Super Homie Hangout hangar.
Right, and then as soon as I save somebody, it'll be the Superhero Homie Hangout hangar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or would it be the Superhero Homie Hangout hangar?
Technically it is that, but I feel like that might confuse people.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, if you clicked on this episode, folks, you know what we're here. We're here to talk about Mandalorian. Season 3 has finally arrived. We're going to talk about episode 1. However, this is Entertainment Evolved. We're here in the studio, and so this week we've got to have an item from the shelves. And
I chose 6.
You did. He technically chose 6 different items because these break apart here. So this is 6 different Funko Pops, and they are, as you probably know, this is the Guardians of the Galaxy. So, this is right up your alley, and you actually got something that's brand new to the shelves. I mean, this was added after we started recording. I saw all of these, and I was like, well, I already have the Avengers over there.
Right.
I got to have this. They're here on the ship. And what's the name of their ship?
The Milano.
Okay.
Yep.
And so tell us a little bit about your history with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
My history with them, the first time I read Guardians of the Galaxy was technically before they were even really formed. I knew they were like an obscure comic book back from like the 70s. They didn't really take off that strongly, but in like the early 2000s, around 04 to 06, they had this event in Marvel Comics called Annihilation, and it was the thing that revitalized the cosmic universe in Marvel because DC was just kicking their ass in terms of like the cosmic side of things. But during that run, man, we got several of the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy before they were technically a team. And by the end of that, we had gotten our first actual Guardians of the Galaxy run, and that Annihilation with the Guardians of the Galaxy, that initial run was so popular, like it hasn't really slowed down since. And because of that run, we got the James Gunn movie that came out in 2014, and it all comes from that. So that's kind of like my initial history with them. And yeah, so seeing them on the big screen for the first time was an amazing experience. It did not let me down. And I can't believe we're already getting ready to see our third and possibly final Guardians movie.
And they are all bobbleheads, and they'll sit here the whole time and bobble more than likely. So
I think Drax is the funniest because he's sleeping.
Yeah, because he's asleep. Yeah, and it was just tremendous. And you probably can't see it on the stream, but I'll put some close-ups in here. And Groot's back here with his little video game. And
technically they probably can't see Drax either.
Yeah, well,
because he's so still that his movements are imperceptible.
That's true. Yeah. It just looks like there's just an empty chair there.
Right.
Yeah. So we have to let people know.
I did always have a question though, and this goes for like both the comic books and the movies about the Guardians, and that is, how many seats are officially on their ship?
Right.
Because like it seems to be however many they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when it's just Peter in the first movie, it really feels to me like there's only the 2 seats.
Right.
And then like later on, it's just like, okay, there's 6, 8, however many, however many people we got here.
Right.
But they have a new ship in the Christmas special.
They do. Yeah.
Is that the Benatar?
I don't know what that ship is.
Yeah.
That's the one that they took off with at the end of Endgame.
Yeah, I think so. It's the one they take Kevin Bacon home.
Yeah. I can remember that was. That's just a weird sentence if you don't have any context.
Yeah, if you have no context whatsoever. Well, so that's our item from the shelves this week. Excellent pick. I've been dying to talk about these. So,
yeah, they look amazing. I had to go with them.
Yeah, I'm very fond of this little setup here.
Yeah. Interesting note also before we move on here, and that is, by the time we get Guardians 3, You may have to remove some of these from your collection.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, well, I won't be doing that. Yeah. This is frozen in time.
Got you.
That being said, we're here today to talk about Mandalorian. We reviewed the first 2 seasons on Superhero Homies on your Patreon. Check that out. If you haven't subscribed to the Patreon for Superhero Homies, it's worth it. As a matter of fact, this is my 5th podcast episode in 4 days. So I am trucking it this week. We covered just not even 12 hours ago. It feels like no, 24.
Technically 24.
24, yeah.
Yep.
See, that's how long of a week it's been for me,
Yeah.
folks. 24 hours ago, we covered Creed 3.
Yes.
Also for the Patreon for you. So for $1 they can get that?
Yeah, for a single dollar, you guys can get access to the Superhero Homie Patreon page, which has the same shenanigans on as the regular Superhero Homie page, except we discuss comic books, TV shows, and movies that are not superhero related. But Creed is pretty close to it. So if you like our normal content, you'll love our Patreon content. And speaking of shenanigans, man, we had plenty of those last night on the Creed review.
I think last night was the first time I've ever intentionally derailed your show. But I did it like 11 times. So, that episode is tremendous. I also want to say I had Sean Legacy right in this studio yesterday.
Yes.
You were listening to some of that on the way over here.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite interviews I've ever done.
Yeah, that was amazing.
We talked a little Mando on that, too, because, of course, he and I had both gotten up first thing in the morning to watch it. It's just we both got up early yesterday morning to watch it, and then he went to the gym and I went back to sleep. So, as you can see. So, man. So, in the Filoni verse at this point in time, that's what I'm calling it. So we're gonna say Mando season 1 and 2, and then
Mando 2.5,
Boba Fett, Mando 2.5. I would also include Rebels and Clone Wars in that, but I don't know how much of that you've seen.
Not a lot.
But that would definitely be the Filoni verse as it is. What's your thoughts so far on the whole thing? On the way that this little corner of the Star Wars universe has gone leading into season 3?
I don't say this as some kind of overblown statement. I mean it quite literally. Is a necessity for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
If you don't have the success that is Mandalorian, then I'm not sure exactly what the retainership looks like. I'm not sure exactly also how people's expectations have altered over the years now because of the Mandalorian. I don't think that it's a stretch to say that as of now, in terms of original content on Disney Plus, The Mandalorian is consistently the best show on there. And this is coming from the superhero guy.
Right. So. Well, it's just that Mandalorian, in the early episodes, it was very much this is a Mando and Grogu adventure for this week.
Right.
And typically, television's not serialized. Typically not something I'm a fan of. Mm-hmm. I always adored it for this show.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't get the overarching narrative moving forward or whatever, I just want to see what these characters are going to do because the odds are they're going to take us to a part of the Star Wars universe that we haven't seen before.
Right.
Or it's going to be a different spin on it. They're not afraid to go to planets that aren't Tatooine or Coruscant or Jakku.
Yeah. 2
of the 3 which are deserts. And everybody seems to want to go to the damn desert planets. I feel like they just kind of had this and Navarro at one point, I feel like they have this sort of fresh, feel to them, but it's also familiar at the same time. And they're doing that in the right way, almost the opposite way that some of the Kathleen Kennedy led stuff has been, where it's just we're going to do new things that aren't Star Wars. And then we're going to just sprinkle nostalgia on top of that and try to fool you into thinking that it is. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have done is they're here's some new things in the Star Wars universe. And then on top of that, we're going to weave in some of these things that you love. And they're not just mindless, pointless cameos, right?
Right.
We talked about the Luke Skywalker cameo from the end of season 2. that absolutely could have just been this, for no reason, we're milking it for the
Mm-hmm.
money, whatever. But the reason that cameo was so powerful and amazing and actually brought me to tears watching it the first time was it didn't make sense for it to be anyone other than Luke, right?
You're right. It wouldn't make sense for it to be anyone else, but at this, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, it needs to be Luke, right?
Right.
But there's no way it's gonna be Luke.
Right, there's no way it's going to be Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, who is it going to be? Because, like, it doesn't make sense for it to be anybody else. But they're certainly not going to have Luke Skywalker.
Right.
So, yeah, tremendous.
Yeah.
We got the tidbit just before this episode came out. I don't know if you saw this making its rounds on, like, comicbook.com and whatnot. But we actually found out that Grogu trained with Luke for 2 years.
I saw that. Yeah, for 2 years. Yeah.
Which it feels like it was maybe a couple weeks when you watch Boba Fett.
Right.
I
guess it's not fair. Like, what's their average lifespan? His race, like, is it
800 years. Yeah.
So I mean, what's 2 years for him?
Yeah, but it's just like you can learn a lot from Luke fucking Skywalker in 2 years.
That's true. Like he should be flipping all over the place by now.
And I think we're gonna maybe see what he can get himself into. So
I mean, he already looks like he's moving a little bit better than he was in previous seasons.
that's true.
Yeah.
He definitely does.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and tell you here, we are gonna go full tilt with spoilers for season 3 from here onward. What's your thoughts about like the kind of opening moments of this episode?
Yeah. So I first of all, I appreciated the recap that we got. Just because I was like, okay, I loosely remember what he's doing, but exactly what is he doing here again?
Right.
And so I always appreciated that. I was like, oh, that's right. Yeah, you took off your helmet and then you admitted it because you have integrity. That's where Den and I would diverge.
Yeah. Be like, no, I never took it.
Yeah.
They don't have security footage.
Right. And I actually really like these kind of personal quests for protagonists, and I'm sure that it's going to dovetail into something bigger. But as of now, I think that it's wonderful that he has this kind of personalized quest that he's on right now, like this kind of redemption arc, and that he has Grogu with him, and so seeing like those opening moments, but also like just also seeing that like seeing him and Grogu and the ship come in and make this save with the giant space crocodile.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, alligator. I get those confused all the time.
Yeah.
Seeing them come in with that save, I was like, there's no place in the Star Wars universe that is safe.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Everything is dangerous. That water looked beautiful and perfectly fine until the giant space crocodile turtle showed up.
The crocagator.
Crocagator, that's right.
Yeah, because it had a shell.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. It was that was tremendous. Like I remember watching this the first time and like I'm thinking it's a flashback.
That's what I thought so at first too.
Din was the little kid.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, and then they pan to like the guy that was in like the kind of heavier armor. I think he's part of the Vizsla clan. I can't remember his first name. But the Vizsla clan has a very significant history with Mandalore and the leadership on Mandalore. So that's why that guy's important. But
well, he's also badass as all get out.
He is.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, that guy's old. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
He's
he
like-
was there when Din was a
Right.
kid. But then we find out that that's not what's going on at all. And, like, Din and Grogu come in and save the day. They got that awesome, like, Naboo Royal Starfighter that we saw them put together, which I think is, like, a really cool ship for them, even though I loved the Razor Crest. But,
Right.
it just didn't make it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this opening. And then, he comes in and saves them and everything. And, like, we see just how like bought into this that they all are, because the armor is just like not even like a hey thanks whatever. It's like I mean you're an apostate, you can't be here,
Right.
you're not one of us anymore. And then it's just like, and you can't go back to Mandalore and to the mines because the whole planet's poisoned. That's the rumor that's out there. You talked about his quest that he's on. Do you think that we see in this season where like Din starts to kind of doubt this extremist faction of the Mandalorians, or do you think he's going to be continuously driven by this?
So I think that he will come to see things from a different perspective. And if I could, be like the selfish fan, I would actually like to see him stay the course. or at very least, find like a middle ground, which is probably what they'll do. Like I don't think that he's ever just going to go full tilt, apostate. But I think that for me, I really like the idea of protagonists who stick to their ideals, regardless of if I agree with them or not.
Right.
Like just seeing them have their own kind of driving forces and factors in their lives that keep them going. I'm like, yeah, I dig that. Like it's something that's different. So I would like to see him kind of stick with it at least for a little bit longer. Before he finally comes to like that realization that no, the true prize was the friendship we made along the way, or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I really like this. I always loved the armor. She's tremendous. I think we're going to see more and more of her later on. I would like to see kind of her get more involved in things, and I think we will see that.
Yeah.
So then, he leaves here and he goes back to Navarro to visit our old friend Grief Karga.
Wait! Quick question. I'm gonna derail us here.
Okay.
So let's say that you were one of the Mandalorians, right, during the ceremony.
Okay, so I'm one of the cultists.
Yeah. Yes.
As we learned later in the episode, this is significant. They're apparently called the Children of the Watch.
Children of the Watch.
Which is a reference to in Clone Wars, there is the Dusk Watch.
Oh.
Which is like a kind of offshoot faction, and then like they end up getting involved with like Darth Maul and shit. Like it's really like it's really convoluted. But I thought it was interesting that like they're an offshoot of the Watch. Apparently, like these are the Children of the Watch. So if there's any backstory to that in Rebels, that's like the thing I'm the least like familiar with. So like Sean or someone's probably watching this, just like this
right.
is the thing. How dare you not know? But you were saying, sorry, I derailed your derailment.
That's fine. To derail my derailment of your derailment of my derailment, I also would have to say that I give pushback on calling them a cult because there's no one who is sleeping with everyone's significant others. So
that's true.
Yeah. It can't possibly be a cult.
Well, we don't know that.
That's true.
Yeah, we don't know that. It's just on Disney. Maybe we haven't seen it.
That's true. Fair point. But let's say that that the Mandalorian that then doesn't show up, and you're one of the many Mandalorians down there fighting the Crocagator 3000. What do you do to stop this thing?
I don't know, man. I mean, obviously they tried to put some of those like blast charges on its shell, and I was like, that's not going to fucking work.
Right.
Like, they need to toss someone in his mouth.
Right.
I think that's maybe the only way to beat him.
Yeah.
Because this thing was nuts.
Oh, yeah. It was pissed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they've been doing in that water.
Yeah, when they're doing the ceremony and he, like, pops up out of the water, I was like, I don't think he was invited to this.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's pissed.
It could be it. It was like, everyone gets these cool helmets but me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been watching this shit for a while now.
They never invite me to the ceremony.
And at one point, this maybe was unintentionally funny, but still funny nonetheless. But it was like they hit him like just random blaster shots, and then it rolls over on his back, and I'm like, oh, they got it.
Yeah.
And then he just starts doing the gator roll.
Yeah. Just wrecking.
Right.
Yeah, just trampling people under the water.
Right. The visuals on this show from top to bottom are just amazing, and it continues to impress me.
I'm going to tell you, from the very first day they started using the volume, it's really impressive. And we've seen where like other studios have tried to mimic it to various degrees. Some have done a good job, some haven't. It's just like these guys developed the technology. George Lucas put 40 years into this.
Right.
This is what he like when he did the prequels. This is what he wanted, but the tech just wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
So, like, really, I mean, Mandalorian is a realization of, like, George Lucas's, like, ultimate vision, really. And I just think that is tremendous. And, like, they have him on the set a lot. And,
right.
Like, it's just an awesome kind of, like, tribute to him and, like, his vision over the years from Star Wars. So.
And it's great that they still have him on the set,
Yeah.
Oftentimes it feels like a lot of studios just kind of, I don't know, feel like they outgrow, like, the creators. Like, I definitely can't say this for a fact, but I feel that oftentimes with Marvel projects, Stan Lee was just kind of brought on to be like, okay, Grandpa, now film this cameo and get back to your cryo chamber.
Yeah. We got some hotties in the green room.
Right.
And he's just like,
oh, Excelsior.
Excelsior, yeah. Damn it.
Right. But you were saying before the multiple derailments.
Yeah, so we get to Navarro, and I like the way this episode is structured because it's like it's been a while, so we're checking in with all the key players, and the whole episode is set up right. We're checking in with the key players, and we're getting everybody back up to speed, and we're setting up the plot, which is of course like what you want like a season 3 episode 1 to be typically, especially if it's been 2 years almost since you had an episode. So we go to visit Grief Karga in Navarro, and he's doing real well.
Oh, yeah.
Navarro's on the up and up. The place looks like a damn paradise for the Outer Rim.
And his son just had a fight for the heavyweight title of the world.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Damn it, man. Carl Weathers such an awesome person to play this character. He does such a good job with it. He's got his cool ass robes or whatever.
Right.
High Magistrate that?
Yeah. Don't forget that high part.
The High Magistrate. Yeah. And he seems like he's doing it out here, man.
Right. Oftentimes when society makes like a shift like that, is normally not for the better, and especially not to this degree. But he's out here doing the damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah, this place that was once almost like a Mos Eisley type scenario where it's like pirates and bounty hunters and all this other shit. We actually got a society out here, civilization.
Hey, there's a school here, and apparently there used to be a bar.
Yeah, it used to be a bar, yeah. What did you think about his kind of conversations with Grief Karga? And I loved the IG-11 statue. And then we find out that he wants to basically bring him back.
Yeah.
To go on this mission with him. And honestly, my thoughts on that are that it would have kind of it would have degraded his sacrifice in the first season. And so I was really glad that they didn't just go straight for that.
Right.
That there's going to be some more to it, and maybe he doesn't get him back at all. But what did you think about this whole sequence?
Yeah, so for part of it, maybe you can clarify, because I've only seen the episode once so far.
Okay.
And that is there a reason why he wants to bring back IG-11?
So, they built up over the first 2 seasons, the first season especially, he has a severe distrust of droids.
Yeah.
Because his family, his whole village was slaughtered by the separatist droids during the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And so IG-11's the only droid he trusts, essentially. So he's like, I need to go down there. The planet might be poisonous. I need a droid basically to help me.
Yeah, that does make sense.
And so he's like, this is the only droid I can trust. Can we salvage him?
Right.
Essentially. So, they've got the statue of him there to kind of honor his bravery or whatever, and it's his original parts and everything.
Yeah, I was very surprised at that.
Yeah. Yeah, those assassin droids are insane.
Yeah.
There's an IG-88 that's nuts. They both are.
Yeah.
As we saw,
yeah.
This one was only half of a droid.
Right.
When they brought him back to life, he was straight murder bot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. But no, I actually really enjoyed this sequence. I enjoyed the ketchup and the mustard. Boots.
I'm paying for last night right now. I'm definitely paying for that. This motherfucker was like, I'm going on his podcast tomorrow. Yeah. I'm going to wreak havoc.
I'm going to wreak all kinds of havoc.
I'm going to make a bunch of fucking puns.
I'll show him. But no, I really enjoyed this sequence. I even enjoyed the I like the fact that they gave us, some closure on Gina Carano's character.
Yeah.
And it was just nice, brief, concise, and it got it out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marshall Dune is off on a very special forces mission. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. And man, the whole Cara Dune character, because I know that you really wanted to talk about her and about this. And I can see it on your face.
Well, you ripped that Band-Aid off. There's just a picture of me laying in the street holding a bullet wound. It was for Patreon.
You had this coming.
Fuck it. Let's talk about Gina Carano.
Yeah. It's like, did I enjoy her character in season 1? Yeah, I thought that she was a very fun side character, and Gina Carano was kind of the perfect fit for it. She has the kind of personality and that tough woman believability that you need for a role like that. So I really dug her in that role. However, I think that for people who still kind of are seem to be upset about it, I'm like, I think that's maybe to a subconscious degree more of your displeasement with other things more so than your displeasement that she's no longer in the show, because I feel that like if she had left the show for because she just wanted to do other things,
Right.
then there would be no uproar at all.
None.
Yeah, and so it's like, was she a fun character? Yeah. Is she like a necessary ingredient for the enjoyment of this show? Of course not.
No.
Yeah. So
No,
yeah,
I agree. And she had every opportunity, multiple, to shut the fuck up.
as do most people.
And like now she's making like the worst movies imaginable with Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, but I said with Ben Shapiro. Yeah.
So I mean, by all means,
Yeah.
she fucked up
Multiple
times.
Yeah, several times in a row.
Yeah, this was not a situation where she like accidentally liked a tweet,
right.
and then like Hell's Fury was brought down upon her. This was a multiple time like, hey, you're kind of supporting some like fascist shit here. We need you to chill the fuck out. And she was like, okay, and then just kept doing it, and it got progressively worse. And I'm just like, okay, goodbye.
Yeah, and I guess like for me, like I just feel like this. All right, my boss who pays me very well says that okay, I'm not supposed to do this. All right, then I guess I can't do that.
Yeah, or I got to find somewhere else to work.
Yeah,
those are your options.
Yeah, those are the options. So yeah, I don't really get all the blowback concerning it. So
I feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I know you told me, you messaged me saying that, man, be sure that you bring up Gina Carano.
I had every plan to talk about Gina Carano tonight. Yeah. So, yeah, very good way for them to kind of explain that away. I'm going to tell you, a lot of people probably are like sitting there just like, he's going to be real pissed about the whole Babu Frick thing. I actually wasn't. I really liked them. I liked their little race of people.
Yeah.
They were hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, my issues with the sequels have never included that there were like cutesy little characters in them, because that's always been a thing in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like you always had like R2-D2 was always that kind of character. Yoda himself. I mean the Ewoks, the B-1 battle droids from the Clone Wars. Yeah. I mean,
the Ewoks don't count because they're terrifying.
No, they weren't terrifying until the special edition.
Oh.
Or actually not the special edition, but the Blu-rays,
where
they added in, because in the originals they don't blink.
Oh,
but in the Blu-rays they put CG eyelids on them so that they blink, and it's fucking horrifying. That's actually the version that's on Disney Plus. So if you want to check it out, go watch Return of the Jedi on Disney Plus. It's horrifying.
Or don't.
Yeah, or don't, because all of their eyes are CG. And it's just creepy as shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they thought that was better. And I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, this version's not good, blah, blah, blah. Right. I think that's dumb as hell. Like, it's George Lucas's. He can do whatever he wants with it. If he wants to change it again tomorrow to where, like, Han doesn't even go into the cantina, he just shoots it with a rocket launcher from outside.
Right.
Then whatever. He's free to do that.
At what point, though, does, like, art become... When does it stop becoming the artist and becomes the consumers?
That really is an interesting thing. Like, that old version still exists.
Yeah.
You still have that. But, I mean, like, Lucasfilm and now Disney has always, like, reserved the right to canonize or uncanonize things. And that's just how it is. I mean, it doesn't mean you don't still have it. It just means that for all intents and purposes, this is what happened. It seems like they're about to do that shit with DC. Like, it seems like... From everything you look at with The Flash, it seems like they're canonizing the Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut, yeah.
Which, I'm super happy about it, but also torn. Because, I'm really happy about it because obviously it's by far the better course of events.
Yeah. Well, it's the only one we have, so.
Right, but see, I can't remind you constantly that the Justice League is canon if it's not canon. See, and I was really enjoying that. Because every time this man be like, man, you know what? We're gonna get some cool shit. We're like, Barry Allen's gonna be back in town. I was like, well, he doesn't know how to do that, so.
I hated that. That was that was like the worst 18 months. Where you would just between that and Matthew McConaughey as Mr. Freeze was
wow. I never thought of that. That's an excellent casting idea. Well, you heard it right here, folks.
No.
You heard it here first. This man came on from the Superhero Homies podcast. And just dropped the most incredible casting that I've ever heard. Matthew McConaughey, you knocked Last Wish off the shelf. Matthew McConaughey, give me that. We're gonna double it up.
That's because I would like to use my last wish to recant what I just said.
Yeah, that's on the shelf. Last Wish is the first book in the Witcher series.
Damn it, man!
If you can get that to stand up, you're welcome to put it back over there. I gotta find something else to go there. That's the second time that shit fell off today. So, okay, you're good. It's fate. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's excellent casting. Anyway, so they try to put ID11 back together. He apparently has just his base programming, and is like must murder the child.
Yeah.
And so this thing's like crawling around. The little Babu Frick species guys are losing their shit, and Mando's like trying to shoot this murder droid or whatever. I really liked here that they weren't just able to just bring him back, because that felt like it would have been too easy.
It would have been cheap, to just bring him back just like that. And so I do like the fact that they are kind of making this its own kind of sub thread.
Yeah. Side quest.
It's a side quest.
Open up the mission journal.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's a side quest, but it's like a Mass Effect side quest where, like, if you don't do it, then it's going to be dire consequences.
Yeah, that suicide mission.
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you, like, this is all leading to, like, another Siege of Mandalore, essentially. And if you're not familiar, the Siege of Mandalore is probably pretty much everyone who's ever seen Clone Wars, it's their favorite arc. The whole thing is just so good. There's just some stuff in there that is off the chain, incredible. Some good Anakin moments, some great Ahsoka moments, some great Bo-Katan moments. It's just an incredible arc, and so for this whole idea where we're going to go back to Mandalore, we're going to retake it for the Mandalorian people, give them a home again. I don't know if they're going to get it done in one season, because Jon Favreau has already written another season. He's already written season 4 of this show. So I almost feel like they're not going to take it back in this season, and they're going to get it back in the next season, or maybe in whatever this big event that they're leading up to is, because they're definitely building towards a confrontation with Thrawn, I feel like. Like this show, the Ahsoka show, all that, I feel like maybe what we're going to end up with in season 4, or if they do some sort of like special event type thing, almost like Defenders did, but good, where they bring everything together. I don't know what they would call it, but maybe they call it the Siege of Mandalore or something like that, where we actually, maybe somehow Thrawn is leading a force here. Right. And that's who they have to fight to get Mandalore back, or maybe they take Mandalore back and then he immediately becomes a threat to them. Any of that stuff. Like, they're fucked, right? Like, he's nuts. But he's one of my favorite villains. But I do know that no matter what, like, that's what we seem to be leading up to.
Well, see, and that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have full confidence that they can stick the landing on it, because, I mean, I think they've been doing it so far. Yeah. So, I don't see why they couldn't. Also, I really like the heads up, catch the baby moment as well. Yeah. I feel like there's just not enough baby throwing that people do, And I'm like, hey, and that goes to show, in cases of emergency, it's perfectly fine to throw a baby.
Right. I mean, clearly that's what they had to do here.
Yeah. I mean, when Mandalorian does it, he's like, oh, look at that badass hero. But when I do it, I'm not invited to the family hangouts anymore.
Well, you don't have Beskar armor.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, you just don't look cool enough.
Yeah,
you're right. Got some Beskar.
You're right.
It's a status symbol.
The problem is, like, it's hard to find Beskar.
It is.
Yeah, it's like almost as hard to find as like adamantium.
Yeah, especially because, like, if like you come across a Mandalorian and they see you wearing that shit, and you're
Yeah.
not a Mandalorian,
Right.
like they're gonna kill you. So
And that's also a problem.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's multiple layers of
Yeah.
problems here.
Yeah.
So maybe you might just have to settle for not tossing babies, man.
There's a way.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is the way.
No, this here is the path. That's my.
Gotcha. We're still trying not to get sued.
That's right.
Yeah. Clearly not the way.
This here is the path. Yep.
Yeah. This right here. We got some cool stuff here as well. I don't know how I feel about like the random mustache twirling pirates. Clearly, these guys were just here to be cannon fodder,
That's
right?
what I mean. Like, yeah, and that's exactly what they're there for. These are the guys who show up randomly in the D&D session. These are the guys who show up in whatever open world RPG video game who are bothering the innocent villagers. These are those guys.
The DM was just like, "Oh man, I got this epic fucking session planned for tonight," and then in the last second, the DM's like, "Shit, I didn't put it like a combat encounter here."
Yeah.
These guys show up at the school and they're like, "This used to be our bar, service a drink." Yeah, I mean, I thought the dialogue for these guys was terrible, but at the same time, it was like, okay, they're cannon fodder.
Yeah,
they're here for Mando to kill.
Right.
And I like how when he finally meets their boss or whatever after having the space battle, the Power Rangers, where they fought them on the ground, and
Right.
then it evolved into a space battle in the ships, and then like I love how Mando is just like, man, fuck this, and he just leaves.
Yeah, that was the greatest part. He just leaves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like that move is so simple but rarely used.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Not enough people just leave.
Yeah, he's like, there's no reason for me to stay here. Like I might beat him in a fight, I might not, but like,
Right.
what? I mean, he can't follow me through hyperspace, so I'm
Yeah.
just gonna leave. Now, when they go to hyperspace here, this is such an interesting moment that I don't think maybe like your casual fan really caught this. But when they're traveling through hyperspace, they see like the hyperspace whales, and they're like swimming through the thing, and this is a whole thing, where there's actually kind of not an arc, but there is an episode about this in Rebels, and I think they're really trying to set themselves up to bring in some Rebels characters. I think there was a lot of rumors about a casting for Hera, who is
a space whale.
She's not a space whale.
Okay.
She's actually a Twi'lek, and she's the captain of their of the. Damn it! People are going to be really
Space
upset.
whales.
No, it's not the Ghost. It's the other ship. It's. All right, people are going to be
space.
No,
whale.
people are going to be livid about me not knowing what the name of the other ship is. Anyway, yeah, but it's no. It's the Phantom and the Ghost. Yeah. So it is the Ghost. But anyway, she's great. She's a cool character from Rebels. So you're gonna see, I think, some more Rebels
Think
stuff.
it was kind of like an Easter egg for that.
I do. I mean, it's not the first time we've gotten one either, because Ezra, not Miller.
Just to clarify.
Yeah. Ezra is a Jedi, and he is
Not
with
Miller.
Not
Again.
Miller. Yeah. He is with Thrawn at the end of Rebels. They like hyperspace off, and I believe they did so with no destination set. So we have no idea where the fuck they ended up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Technically, would you know? Like, where you wouldn't?
They
you?
wouldn't. No. Well, it depends on like what kind of like maps, because like Thrawn was an admiral, right? And so he
a
would
grand
have
admiral,
a grand
right,
admiral,
right.
yeah. So he would have like had the entire Imperial database. He also. His race comes from the dark reaches, like the far reaches of space that's like not mapped at all.
Oh shit!
It's like outside of the Galactic Empire and outside of the Outer Rim, so like deep space shit. And that's where his like empire, or where his like people come from. And he's actually here essentially as like a spy for them.
Right.
And so for the Chiss Empire, and so yeah, they could have ended up there. But if anybody knows, then he knows.
Right.
But essentially, like, Ahsoka is looking for Thrawn because she's looking for Ezra. So.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's
okay.
That's where the whole thing comes in. So this is not the first time we've gotten a big like Rebels hint. So I think all these little storylines and stuff are starting to kind of come together because Ahsoka has a lot of history with those characters as well.
Gotcha. Another question for you, because I know you are infinitely more informed than I am, but is there anything else that you can tell me about old Greg Swamp Thing, who we met?
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, he he looked like a cross between old Greg and Swamp Thing. The guy who was like who said if you surrender your ship, I promise I won't kill you, and then they
Oh
hyperdrive
yeah,
off.
yeah. He reminded me of what was it? Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean a little bit. No, I don't know anything about that guy. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I think he's just a random character.
Just random, yeah. I just think it would be hilarious if he periodically shows up with a horrible plan, and every time Mando just leaves,
And he just gets wrecked every time. He just
Right.
chases them all over the guys. That'd be amazing.
yeah.
Grievous and Obi-Wan have a similar kind of relationship where, like, Obi-Wan just fucked on him forever. Because this is something I think we've talked about, but when they did the Clone Wars show, that line gets dropped in Revenge of the Sith, where they go on Grievous' ship, and they regret putting this in immensely because Grievous goes, he either says General Skywalker or, I think he says General Skywalker. Yeah, he says like, you're taller than I expected you to be, or something like that, which implies that they've never been in the same place. So the fucking like 4D chess that they had to play during Clone Wars to make sure that Grievous and Anakin were never in the same place. Like, they've talked to each other on like video screens, or they've been on the same planet, but they never encountered each other. So most of the encounters with Grievous it's mostly like Obi-Wan ends up fighting him 1v1 over and over again, and they just really hate each other. But yeah, he never encounters Anakin in person until that moment, all because of that one fucking line that they put in. So for 7 seasons, they had to keep them from being in the same place.
That's fantastic. I think that most people would have been like, fuck that line in particular, and we're just gonna
roll with it.
Yeah, we're just gonna play it like that line was never dropped.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Yeah,
they kept them apart the whole time.
That's amazing.
Yeah. What did you think about? So we get to the end, and I'm like, is he going to Mandalore? Because like the planet, he's like, they're kind of zooming in on it. Like, I'm like, this kind of looks like it, but no, this is another planet in the Mandalorian system.
Yeah.
And we see a castle there, and I'm just like, surely this is going to be Bo-Katan. Now, if there's anything in this episode I didn't love, it's this. Like, he goes in, and she's just been like, well, I was going to take over the planet, but I've settled for this castle. And she's just chilling in there.
She looks so lonely.
Yeah.
This kind of threw me off a little bit as well, because I'm like, you kind of made a big deal about, wanted to take over like the entire planet, and so I'm like, it is a fine castle. Don't get me wrong. Like, from what we saw, it's got a nice hallway that leads to your throne and whatnot. But surely, like, I guess the reason why I was able to kind of give it more of a pass is because, in my mind at least, I'm like, she's not putting all her cards on the table. Like, there's something else that she's just not saying right now.
Yeah, I didn't love a lot of the dialogue here. I thought this scene could have been a little more drawn out and a little more powerful. And there's nothing against Katie Sackhoff. I mean, she is Bo-Katan. Like, she voices her in the show and everything. I mean,
that's so great that they got her to be the live action adaptation.
It's funny because like season 3 or whatever of Clone Wars, and Dave Filoni like says to Katie, he's like, well, you never know. Like, you could end up playing this in live action because they made the character kind of look like
her. Yeah.
And she was just like, whatever, bullshit. And then, lo and behold, next thing you know, she's on this multi-million-dollar set with, filming for Mandalorian, and she's like a major character.
It's insanity.
and her history with Mandalore and like the people there, like it makes absolute sense that she has this kind of defeated stance on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't love the dialogue here. I wanted more from it, and this scene to me felt a little rushed and a little simple at the same time. Like
It was, I guess to me, yeah, like it just kind of felt like a point and click. Like, okay, I'm going here because I know there's information here that I need to get to this other place, and so forth and so on.
it's like a video game where you're skipping the dialogue.
Right.
Yeah. You're like, well, I got to go here and talk to this person real quick.
Yeah, and wait, I'm just gonna click X until my objective marker updates.
Yeah, that's kind of what he did. I am excited though for the rest of the season. I think that this was a tremendous like setup episode.
Right.
But I feel like this conversation with her at the end was the weakest part of it.
Yeah, I agree because like the rest of the episode I thought was very well paced. I mean, it has an interesting runtime of 37 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is I mean, it just goes to show that they just film or they just make what they want,
right?
Which I think is always a plus. But I think that overall, man,
Disney Plus.
Okay, see, I was supposed to be the one to make the bad puns on this episode tonight. You were done after last night.
I want you guys to know that when I said that shit, he looked for his damn buttons that he has on his show, and he doesn't fucking have them here. It's just me and the Guardians.
I really did want to hit that button.
I saw you.
Yeah,
you went, and you were like, fuck, I got nothing.
Got nothing here. But no, I think overall, though, yeah, I'm excited for this season, though, because this episode was great. Do we know how many episodes we're getting?
8.
Okay.
Yeah, still 8.
Yeah.
And I love there's like little meta lines that drop in here, like like Grief Karga's like, you brought the kid with you, and his name's Grogu.
Yeah.
And he's just like, if you say so.
Right.
Just kind of that nod to like that there's a significant contingent of people who are still calling him Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
I will not tolerate that shit. His name's Grogu, damn it. Even on SNL, Pedro Pascal was like, Baby Yoda, his name is Grogu.
Well, he's probably contractually obligated to always call him Grogu.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, that's his damn name.
Yeah, and that is his name as well.
What if it turns out later on, like, Ahsoka is just trolling this whole time?
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, she just, like, came up with that shit.
All right, she was like, why do you call him Grogu? He's like, well, that's his name. Did he tell you that?
Did he tell you that? It's interesting, too, because it's very evident that we're going to get some flashbacks, some more detail. Like, I think this season we're going to get to finally see how he escaped the Jedi Temple.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're going to get a lot this. I think we're going to get some really big surprises. Like, I really think by, like, episode 3, we're going to be, like, crack-a-lacking.
Oh.
I think it's going to be
a
lot of stuff going on this season.
The way he probably escaped the Jedi Temple is that old Greg Swamp Thing shows up and he just walks away.
Or maybe they was at the Jedi Temple that day and somebody was like, Bella Ramsey's terrible in The Last of Us. And Grogu just got up and left. Yeah. He got in his little little ball and just floated off.
So I don't even want to be on this planet no more.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to you, JJ, if you're watching this.
That's the second podcast in 2 days you brought that up.
I know. Yeah. Yours behind a paywall, though. So
that's true.
So I had to make sure we got it out there.
Yeah. That's incredible. So do we they don't give us like to come next week previews on Mandalorian.
They have, but I don't think we've gotten one yet. Like they don't do like Last of Us. Usually they wait a few days and then drop it because they're trying to keep that engagement.
Yeah, which I think is why they only dropped one episode. I think that if they wanted, obviously if they wanted to, they could have dropped 2. But I think that like for narrative's sake, they probably should have. But I do understand them dropping 1 a week anyway because regardless, people are going to show up. And that's just going to keep the engagement up for 8 weeks in a row.
This show is so big.
Yeah.
They don't have to. That like they don't have to lure you in.
Yeah.
Like with this episode, I think people are so excited just to see these characters again
Mm-hmm.
that it's like, okay, maybe it's not the best episode of Mandalorian ever, but we don't care. Like we're just excited to see the gang back together and they
Right.
got a new mission and yeah, it's just it's a fun time. It's like whenever we have to go like 3-4 weeks without playing D&D,
Right.
and then it's like you get back to the session, you're like, man, I don't remember what we were doing. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. We're here.
Right, we're
Let's
here.
do this
Yeah.
shit. Yeah. Man, so you got anything else before we score this one?
No, not really. The Crocker Turtle was great, and that whole scene was phenomenal. I did. Well, I guess I will say this: when the one, like you mentioned, mustache strolling space pirate shows up and tries to get his revenge on Mando. I typically don't like space dog fights. Like the only dog fights I like are like in Top Gun, or uh, but in most cases, anything involving like chase sequences or kind of space dog fights, they just seem a little lazy and cliche and tropey.
I enjoyed
But
this one.
this one was very well done.
He
Like
was
they
using
actually,
stealth.
yeah, they used tactics in this,
Yeah.
and it wasn't just like they were shooting mindlessly at each other and miraculously missing. Like there were tactics being used, and he was using cover of the asteroid fields, and I mean he just outsmarted them and
Yeah.
outmaneuvered them, and that was great.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that myself. And
Yeah.
I thought that was very much to their credit that they did not just go with a cheesy
Right.
space chase because, like, we've seen that shit is so overplayed.
It is.
It was overplayed before Aquaman came out.
Right.
And now they just ran that shit way into the ground.
Through the wall, you can say, to exposit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what are you scoring this one out of 10, my friend?
I give this a solid 8. I thought that this was a really solid opener, and you're right. Like the finish wasn't quite as strong as maybe one would hope it is, but it got the point across enough for us to know what Din and Grogu are likely to go do next. We got our side plots in line as well. I mean, and like we mentioned earlier, this is just set up for things to come. And again, for people like me especially, man, like I was just so blown away again by how good the visuals look. Just because, again, it's been so long since I've seen Mandalorian, like you said, almost 2 years now. And so to see all this again and to see the characters come back, it's just a great time. So I had to give it an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm close to you. I'm actually going to give it a 7.5. I'm going to let my Star Wars fanboyism take hold for just a minute. They only remember the finish, kid, and I thought the finish to the episode was weak. So I got to ding it for that. I thought that I love that they did not make it so you can skip over Boba Fett. I love that a lot of people are figuring out, oh, that's required.
Yeah.
This is not Marvel. I can't just skip all this shit and it'll be fine.
Right.
And that is to their credit. Because it matters.
Yep.
Because you think about it, like the last episode of this was Luke walking off with Grogu.
Right. And
then-
so for people who only watch Mandalorian, they're like, what in the hell?
Was that like a fever dream? Did he eat some of those mushrooms on Navarro? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, so I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think it's only going to go up from here. I want to see the pacing. I want to see it kick in next week. I want to see him start working towards his goal. I feel like this is going to be the most serialized season. They mentioned Moff Gideon. I think we're going to see him get out somehow. I think we're going to get some awesome stuff going forward. So I'm very excited about the future, but I'm at a 7.5 on this one.
And you know what? I mean, that is definitely fair, especially because I was just thinking about the season openers for seasons 1 and 2, and they were both phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I mean, season 1 opener, that series premiere was exactly what it needed to be, and they knocked it out of the park. For me, that season 2 opener, it was it was just badass to like the nth degree.
Yeah.
And seeing him trying to wield the Darksaber and fucking himself up, and it was so much fun in that opener. This one, it wasn't as strong as the other 2 season openers, but I still enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, I agree. Well, man, before we go, tell us what you got coming up on Superhero Homies.
Yes, so coming up pretty soon here, I will be covering All-Star Superman. And actually, I'm putting a lot more emphasis on covering books here. So I will be bringing on a guest also to cover the King in Black story. This pretty iconic Venom story. Looking forward to that as well. There will be a Venom 3 movie, so I figured I'd get ahead of the curve on that one. I'll be covering Shazam really soon and also doing a Shazam preview to get you guys ready for that because I know that all of you are really looking forward to Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, which I believe you said that you'd be there to do that with me.
Yeah, I'll be there to shit on that on your podcast. Speaking of All-Star Superman, the only reason it's not on the shelves behind us is because it's on my to be read. It's like the next thing almost. So, I'll be reading that, and then when I'm done reading it, it's gonna go up here. It may actually have to replace Killing Joke.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to separate Joker Suit, Mark Hamill, and Killing Joke.
Yeah.
But we're running out of room here, so eventually I'm gonna have to take some things down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But All-Star Superman, after we review it and everything, it's gonna make its way up here on the shelves. So very excited to do that one with you. We just did Creed 3 last night. We mentioned that. Coming up right here in this very room next week, I have two very special guests on. Making his debut on the podcast for episode 2 of Mandalorian is going to be my good buddy Brendan. He actually got me this fucking amazing Dungeons and Dragons Trogdor shirt today. He gave it to me like just a few hours ago, and I was like, I'm wearing this on the stream tonight. So definitely check that out. He's going to be making his debut here on the show. Talk about episode 2 of Mandalorian. Also next week, that's actually probably going to be the next episode we put out. We're going to be reviewing episode 8 of The Last of Us, and the homie Joe himself will be returning for that. This is actually going to be his video debut here in the studio. Be his first time here. Very excited for that. Like Lauren, he has not played the games at all. He's purely a TV show person, and I think that this episode coming up is going to be some wild shit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think he hit the jackpot and rolled a 1 at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Agreed.
But then, so that's 2 episodes coming out next week. You and I are going to be at Title Belt Pro this weekend, which, guess what? Title sponsor for that right here, Entertainment Evolved. So, of course, we got to go up there. It's a business trip. I'm writing that shit off. We're sponsoring that show. That's going to be really fun. We may have to talk a little bit about that. Maybe we record some. We might do a rough cut in the car on the way home.
Oh yeah, but I said that we can easily do that.
Yeah, just bullshit. I mean, honestly, that might be one of the best episodes. Just us bullshit in the car.
Oh yeah.
And then the week after that for the finale of Last of Us. All of us are going to be right here. It's going to be podcast assembled. So we're going to have Lauren from Coffee and Lore. We're going to have Oz from Tavern Notice Board. We're going to have Ace from Superhero Homies. We're going to have myself right here, Entertainment Evolved, here in the studio. We might even get a little drink going, as is tradition.
Hey, that is tradition. When we did this last time on Involved Review, it was for the House of the Dragon finale, and we was all sipping except for you.
Yeah, well, so here's what happened. A little peek behind the curtain here. We were supposed to start that at like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And we had so many technical difficulties that I don't think we started recording until like 7:30. So they're all drinking in their respective places because it was remote, right? I was in Atlanta. They were all at their houses. So they're all just sitting there getting plastered. And I'm like having a panic attack trying to get this damn episode together. I'm like running cables across my house, like just all sorts of things. Like I originally was going to be doing it on my laptop. My laptop couldn't handle it. I brought my whole damn gaming PC in there. I had it strode across my bed. Like the whole thing was it was the most amateur shit that I've ever done. Thankfully, none of that shit was on camera. And, I get in there and like by the time we start, I'm flustered. I barely said shit on that episode. I was just like, yeah, so what you guys think about the characters? And I would just sit there and like, let you guys go. And then instead of like offering anything, I'm just like, yeah, so the pacing was pretty good, huh? Like I didn't contribute shit on that episode. And yeah, so everybody was drunk by the time we started.
Yeah. It was a good time for us.
It was a great time for you guys. So this time, like I don't have to drive home. I'll already be here.
Yeah.
So
That's true. Yeah, you got home field advantage when
yeah,
it comes to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I might have to get a little riggedy for that
Right.
one. So yeah, if you want to see me turn on the stream for the first time,
Yeah.
might have to check that out.
Oh yeah, yeah, and also we should still line up the re-review of Quantumania and just take a shot every time they either reference quantum, say quantum, or are in the quantum realm.
We would do better than we would for Ant-Man 2 though, somehow still,
It's true.
which is craziness. So.
Yeah. Somehow.
Well, man, as always, thank you for joining me here. This has been a blast.
Man, I always enjoy being here, and I'm glad I got to make my video debut here on an Evolve Review.
You got 2 weeks, and then we're gonna assemble. So
Gonna run it back.
we're gonna run it back. Well, everybody, this has been an Evolved Review, and come back and check us out next week with everything we got coming up.
All right.